We got some great advice for you, like start Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. We're not going to do that, actually. We're going to get... Okay. Welcome into the Sporting News Studios for Ram Fantasy Update. Tom Vandervoort with Sporting News Fantasy Source expert Brad Pinkerton. And Brad, we know we're going to start our studs.
Yeah.
We need a little more out of you. So how about some guys that maybe not as much on the radar screen? Give me a guy you can trust this weekend.
Well, a guy coming off a terrible game that fantasy owners might not trust is Bryce Brown. He laid an absolute egg last week. And if you survived it and you moved on to this week in your playoffs, you're going to be a little hesitant to start him. I personally am sticking with him, and I was lucky enough to survive that poor game in 2 different leagues, and I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going back to him. I'm going to have him in both lineups this week. We've seen 2 elite games, not just good games from Brown. We've seen 2 elite games from him and the 1 dud. So I'm going to go with the numbers here. He has looked a lot better. We've seen a lot more good than bad out of him. I'm going to go with him this week.
Okay, now you trust Bryce Brown. Who don't you trust?
The guy that I'm going to shy away from had a great game last week, fairly good game, Montel Owens. First start for the Jacksonville Jaguars, got a few carries, got over 100 total yards, I believe. I'm just not looking for a repeat performance out of somebody that comes from that far down the depth chart. We know very little about him. It's tough to really put him back out there and say, okay, I'm going to trust you in the lineup in Week 15. Go all in on Montel Owens. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Okay, so 3 games out of Bryce Brown, that's enough for you, but 1 game out of Montel Owens, not quite enough.
2 elite games out of Bryce Brown,
Okay.
1 good game out of Montel Owens. That's kind of what we're looking at.
Okay, and how about a sleeper this week?
And my sleeper is, if you have the luxury of taking a feature back like Reggie Bush off the bench and into your lineup, he's got a great matchup. But if you're looking for more of a pickup play, flex option, desperation RB2, Bilal Powell is a guy to look at. And he might be freely available on waiver wires right now. The Jets have finally realized that their quarterback situation is atrocious.
They're going to run the ball or
They're
try to.
trying to cover it up as best by possible by running as much as possible. So Bilal Powell could get just as many carries as a feature back like Reggie Bush or that Montel Owens figure that you're picking up and contemplating starting. I feel like even splitting with Sean Green, he could approach 20 carries again just like he did last week. So that's going to be a lot of carries and a great matchup against Tennessee. That's a Monday nighter that you can kind of put all your hopes on in that last final game of the week.
And keep it interesting.
Yeah, so I would take my chances with Bilal Powell.
Okay, very good. And just to confirm, we are going to start Tom Brady this week.
Well, it's Aaron Rodgers is what we're looking at.
You and I are talking about.
Aaron Rodgers has possibly the worst quarterback matchup you can have against the Bears. This is a guy that it's a no-brainer. I'm not hesitating, and this is proof that any matchup, just start him. He'll be fine.
Okay, there you go. That's Brad Pinkerton. I'm Tom Vandervoort. You've been watching Ram Fantasy Update, and good luck this weekend.